Picture an empire that elevated stone into poetry, where every column and triumphal arch narrated tales of grandeur. Rome stands as more than a collection of military conquests. It represents a cultural titan that forever transformed the language of art and architecture. In its mastery of material and form, Rome created a legacy that continues to influence our world today. From its mythical founding in 753 BCE to its fall in 476 CE, Rome flourished for over a millennium, crafting a civilization where architecture became a testament to power, innovation, and an unrelenting pursuit of beauty. This remarkable journey began in the humble hills surrounding the Tiber River, where a small settlement would grow to command the known world, leaving an indelible mark on human creativity and engineering prowess. Roman artistic achievement was born from a unique fusion of pragmatic engineering and aesthetic vision. While the Greeks sought perfect ideals in their art, the Romans pursued grandeur that served both beauty and function. They revolutionized construction techniques, perfecting the use of concrete, developing the arch, and creating architectural marvels that would have seemed impossible to their predecessors. The empire's artistic evolution reflected its political transformation. As Rome expanded from a republic to an empire, its art and architecture grew more ambitious and monumental. Each emperor sought to outdo their predecessors, commissioning increasingly spectacular buildings and public works. This competitive patronage drove innovation and scale to new heights, resulting in structures like the Pantheon, whose concrete dome remained unmatched for centuries. Roman art and architecture served as a sophisticated language of power. Every building, every statue, every fresco carried carefully crafted messages about authority, dignity, and Roman values. The empire's architects and artists didn't simply create beautiful objects. They forged powerful symbols that communicated Rome's greatness to both citizens and conquered peoples across vast territories. This artistic revolution transformed the ancient world's urban landscape. Cities from Britain to Egypt were reimagined in the Roman image, with forums, temples, and amphitheaters expressing a unified cultural vision. The standardization of architectural elements across the empire created a visual language that transcended local boundaries and helped unite diverse populations under Roman rule. The Romans' artistic achievement lies not just in their original creations, but in their ability to absorb and transform influences from other cultures, particularly the Greeks. They took the elegant proportions of Greek architecture and adapted them to create more complex, spatially dynamic buildings. Similarly, they embraced Greek sculptural ideals while adding their own emphasis on realism and individual character. What makes Roman art and architecture particularly fascinating is its dual nature, at once practical and symbolic, local and universal, traditional and innovative. The Romans built for eternity, and in doing so, they created works that continue to inspire awe and admiration nearly 2 millennia later. Their architectural solutions to engineering challenges and their artistic expressions of power and beauty set standards that influenced countless generations of creators and builders. This golden age of creativity and construction represents one of humanity's greatest artistic achievements, a period when human ingenuity and ambition seem to know no bounds. The Romans' artistic legacy survives not only in their monuments, but in the countless ways their innovations continue to shape our modern world, from our government buildings to our sports arenas, from our sculptural traditions to our urban planning principles. Their story reminds us that great art does more than please the eye. It has the power to unify people, express cultural values, and stand as a testament to human achievement across the centuries. As we explore Rome's artistic and architectural heritage, we discover not just the story of an ancient empire, but reflections of our own aspirations to create works of lasting beauty and significance. Close your eyes and let your imagination transport you to the bustling streets of ancient Rome. The air resonates with the rhythmic striking of chisels against marble, a symphony of creation echoing through countless workshops scattered across the city. The fresh scent of quicklime mingles with the metallic aroma of molten bronze, creating the distinctive perfume of a civilization in perpetual construction. In every corner of the empire, from the smallest provincial town to the grandest metropolis, construction sites dominated the landscape. Architects and craftsmen worked tirelessly, transforming raw materials into monuments of unprecedented scale. The sound of pulleys creaking under the weight of massive stone blocks, the calls of workers coordinating their efforts, and the constant tap of hammers and chisels created a perpetual chorus of progress and ambition. The Romans' mastery of concrete revolutionized construction possibilities. This remarkable material, made from a mixture of volcanic ash, lime, and aggregates, allowed them to create structures of unprecedented size and complexity. The durability of this Roman concrete remains a marvel even to modern engineers, with some structures standing strong after 2 millennia of exposure to the elements. The Pantheon stands as the supreme testament to Roman architectural genius. Its massive concrete dome, spanning an awe-inspiring 43 meters in diameter, seems to float above the ground despite its enormous weight. The walls, 6 meters thick, distribute the massive forces at work, while the careful graduation of the concrete mix, lighter near the top and heavier at the base, demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of structural engineering that was far ahead of its time. Walking through a Roman city, you would encounter a living museum of architectural innovation. Every forum showcased the finest marble from distant quarries, every temple displayed masterful sculptures, and every public space demonstrated the Romans' remarkable ability to combine beauty with functionality. The streets themselves, paved with carefully fitted stones, many of which survive to this day, reflected their commitment to practical engineering and durability. The Romans' construction sites were marvels of organization and efficiency. Sophisticated lifting devices, including the revolutionary Roman crane, allowed workers to raise and position massive blocks of stone with remarkable precision. The logistics of transporting materials from distant quarries and organizing large-scale construction projects required administrative skills as impressive as the engineering knowledge that went into the buildings themselves. In the workshops, craftsmen employed techniques that would be lost for centuries after the empire's fall. The precise cutting and fitting of stone blocks, the casting of massive bronze statues, the creation of delicate frescoes, and the laying of intricate mosaics all required skills developed through generations of accumulated knowledge and experience. The Romans' building projects transformed not just the physical landscape, but the social fabric of their cities. Construction sites provided employment for thousands, from skilled artisans to common laborers. The constant renewal and expansion of urban infrastructure reflected a society confident in its future and committed to leaving a lasting legacy. The empire's architectural ambitions extended far beyond mere functionality. Every significant building project was an opportunity to demonstrate Roman power and engineering prowess. The use of massive columns, soaring arches, and dramatic domes created spaces that inspired awe in visitors from across the known world. These structures were designed not just to last, but to proclaim Roman greatness to future generations. This architectural revolution changed humanity's understanding of what was possible in construction. The Romans proved that buildings could be both beautiful and immense, both practical and awe-inspiring. Their solutions to engineering challenges, their innovative use of materials, and their bold architectural visions continue to influence builders and architects to this day, standing as eternal testimonies to human ingenuity and ambition. Behind every masterpiece of Roman art and architecture stood a complex network of visionaries, craftsmen, and powerful patrons who shaped the empire's cultural legacy. These remarkable individuals, both celebrated and anonymous, transformed Rome from a city of simple structures into an eternal capital of marble and grandeur. Vitruvius emerges as perhaps the most influential architectural mind of the Roman world. His monumental work, De Architectura, the 10 books on architecture, became the cornerstone of architectural theory for millennia. Vitruvius went beyond mere construction principles, exploring the philosophical foundations of proportion, beauty, and harmony. His famous concept of firmitas, utilitas, venustas, durability, utility, beauty, continues to influence architectural thinking to this day. The empire's greatest patron of the arts was undoubtedly Augustus, the first Roman emperor. His famous declaration that he found Rome in brick and left it in marble was no mere boast. Under his reign, Rome underwent an unprecedented architectural transformation. Augustus understood that art and architecture were powerful tools for communicating imperial authority and Roman values. He initiated a massive building program that would set the standard for future emperors, establishing a visual language of power that would define Roman art for centuries. Master sculptors, whose names are often lost to history, developed techniques that brought marble to life with unprecedented realism. These anonymous artists could capture not just the physical likeness of their subjects, but their very essence. Their ability to render cloth that seemed to flutter in the wind, skin that appeared soft to the touch, and expressions that conveyed complex emotions revolutionized the possibilities of sculpture. Emperor Hadrian himself was known to be deeply involved in architectural design, particularly in the creation of his villa at Tiva. His passion for Greek culture influenced Roman artistic development, encouraging a fusion of Hellenic ideals with Roman pragmatism. The Pantheon, rebuilt during his reign, stands as perhaps the greatest testament to this creative synthesis. Apollodorus of Damascus, the brilliant architect behind Trajan's Forum and the famous bridge over the Danube, exemplified the technical mastery of Roman engineers. His works demonstrated how architectural grandeur could serve both practical needs and imperial propaganda. The Column of Trajan, with its intricate spiral relief narrating military campaigns, showcases the sophistication of Roman sculptural storytelling. The Flavian dynasty, particularly Emperor Vespasian, transformed Rome's skyline with the construction of the Colosseum. This massive amphitheater required the coordination of thousands of workers, artists, and engineers, demonstrating the organizational capability of Roman builders. The project managers who coordinated these massive undertakings were as crucial to Rome's architectural achievement as the designers themselves. Roman portraiture reached new heights of realism under artists who broke with idealized Greek traditions. These sculptors created brutally honest representations of their subjects, capturing every wrinkle, wart, and imperfection. This veristic style reflected Roman values of ancestry and experience, where age and character were seen as marks of dignity rather than flaws to be concealed. The imperial family played a crucial role as tastemakers and art patrons. Livia, Augustus's wife, set standards for imperial patronage that subsequent empresses would follow. The Empress Julia Domna, wife of Septimius Severus, was known for her intellectual circle and support of the arts, helping to shape the cultural climate of her era. Master mosaic artists created works of stunning complexity and beauty. While their names are largely unknown, their legacy survives in the intricate floors and walls of Roman villas and public buildings across the empire. These craftsmen developed techniques for creating subtle gradations of color and perspective effects that wouldn't be surpassed for centuries. The architects who designed Rome's great public works were also innovative urban planners. They created sophisticated water supply systems, public spaces, and street layouts that transformed Roman cities into models of efficiency and grandeur. Their solutions to the challenges of urban development continue to influence city planning to this day. Behind these celebrated figures worked countless skilled artisans, stonecutters, bronze casters, fresco painters, and decorative artists. Their collective expertise, passed down through generations of workshops and guilds, made possible the magnificent achievements of Roman art and architecture. Though their names may be lost, their work stands as testimony to the extraordinary level of craftsmanship achieved during the Roman Empire. Behind every masterpiece of Roman art and architecture stood a complex network of visionaries, craftsmen, and powerful patrons who shaped the empire's cultural legacy. These remarkable individuals, both celebrated and anonymous, transformed Rome from a city of simple structures into an eternal capital of marble and grandeur. Vitruvius emerges as perhaps the most influential architectural mind of the Roman world. His monumental work, De Architectura, the 10 books on architecture, became the cornerstone of architectural theory for millennia. Vitruvius went beyond mere construction principles, exploring the philosophical foundations of proportion, beauty, and harmony. His famous concept of firmitas, utilitas, venustas, durability, utility, beauty, continues to influence architectural thinking to this day. The empire's greatest patron of the arts was undoubtedly Augustus, the first Roman emperor. His famous declaration that he found Rome in brick and left it in marble was no mere boast. Under his reign, Rome underwent an unprecedented architectural transformation. Augustus understood that art and architecture were powerful tools for communicating imperial authority and Roman values. He initiated a massive building program that would set the standard for future emperors, establishing a visual language of power that would define Roman art for centuries. Master sculptors, whose names are often lost to history, developed techniques that brought marble to life with unprecedented realism. These anonymous artists could capture not just the physical likeness of their subjects, but their very essence. Their ability to render cloth that seemed to flutter in the wind, skin that appeared soft to the touch, and expressions that conveyed complex emotions revolutionized the possibilities of sculpture. Emperor Hadrian himself was known to be deeply involved in architectural design, particularly in the creation of his villa at Tibur. His passion for Greek culture influenced Roman artistic development, encouraging a fusion of Hellenic ideals with Roman pragmatism. The Pantheon, rebuilt during his reign, stands as perhaps the greatest testament to this creative synthesis. Apollodorus of Damascus, the brilliant architect behind Trajan's Forum and the famous bridge over the Danube, exemplified the technical mastery of Roman engineers. His works demonstrated how architectural grandeur could serve both practical needs and imperial propaganda. The Column of Trajan, with its intricate spiral relief narrating military campaigns, showcases the sophistication of Roman sculptural storytelling. The Flavian dynasty, particularly Emperor Vespasian, transformed Rome's skyline with the construction of the Colosseum. This massive amphitheater required the coordination of thousands of workers, artists, and engineers, demonstrating the organizational capability of Roman builders. The project managers who coordinated these massive undertakings were as crucial to Rome's architectural achievement as the designers themselves. Roman portraiture reached new heights of realism under artists who broke with idealized Greek traditions. These sculptors created brutally honest representations of their subjects, capturing every wrinkle, wart, and imperfection. This veristic style reflected Roman values of ancestry and experience, where age and character were seen as marks of dignity rather than flaws to be concealed. The imperial family played a crucial role as tastemakers and art patrons. Livia, Augustus's wife, set standards for imperial patronage that subsequent empresses would follow. The Empress Julia Domna, wife of Septimius Severus, was known for her intellectual circle and support of the arts, helping to shape the cultural climate of her era. Master mosaic artists created works of stunning complexity and beauty. While their names are largely unknown, Their legacy survives in the intricate floors and walls of Roman villas and public buildings across the empire. These craftsmen developed techniques for creating subtle gradations of color and perspective effects that wouldn't be surpassed for centuries. The architects who designed Rome's great public works were also innovative urban planners. They created sophisticated water supply systems, public spaces, and street layouts that transformed Roman cities into models of efficiency and grandeur. Their solutions to the challenges of urban development continue to influence city planning to this day. Behind these celebrated figures worked countless skilled artisans, stonecutters, bronze casters, fresco painters, and decorative artists. Their collective expertise, passed down through generations of workshops and guilds, made possible the magnificent achievements of Roman art and architecture. Though their names may be lost, their work stands as testimony to the extraordinary level of craftsmanship achieved during the Roman Empire. Roman art transcended mere aesthetics to become a sophisticated system of imperial communication. Through carefully crafted monuments, reliefs, and architectural programs, Rome developed a visual vocabulary that spoke of power, legitimacy, and cultural supremacy across its vast territories. The Arch of Constantine stands as perhaps the most eloquent example of this visual rhetoric. Each relief panel, every sculptural detail, was meticulously designed to convey specific messages about imperial authority and divine favor. The arch's strategic location along the triumphal route ensured that its messages would reach both Roman citizens and visiting dignitaries, making it a powerful instrument of political communication. The Forum of Trajan exemplified how architecture could narrate imperial achievements. Its famous spiral column tells the story of Trajan's Dacian campaigns through a continuous relief that stretches nearly 200 meters. This architectural marvel served multiple purposes: documenting military victories, celebrating Roman engineering prowess, and demonstrating the empire's ability to mobilize vast resources for monumental projects. Imperial portraiture evolved into a highly sophisticated propaganda tool. The images of emperors were carefully crafted to convey specific messages. Augustus's youthful, idealized portraits suggested divine favor and timeless authority, while Vespasian's more realistic depictions emphasized his practical, no-nonsense leadership style. These portraits, reproduced throughout the empire, served as a form of mass media, ensuring that even the most distant provinces knew their ruler's face and the values he represented. Public buildings became three-dimensional political statements. The Pantheon's massive dome demonstrated not just architectural innovation, but Rome's ability to achieve the seemingly impossible. The Colosseum proclaimed the empire's organizational and engineering capabilities, while simultaneously serving as a venue for spectacular displays of imperial generosity through public games and entertainments. The Romans understood the power of artistic appropriation. When they encountered impressive artistic traditions in conquered territories, they often incorporated these elements into their own visual language. This practice served a dual purpose: enriching Roman artistic vocabulary while demonstrating Rome's ability to absorb and improve upon the achievements of other cultures. Religious architecture played a crucial role in this imperial dialogue. Temples were not just places of worship, but statements about Rome's relationship with the divine. The Temple of Venus and Roma, the largest temple in ancient Rome, proclaimed the city's central role in the cosmic order, linking Rome's destiny with divine purpose through its very architecture. The empire's visual language extended to the smallest details of daily life. Coins carried carefully chosen images and inscriptions that reinforced imperial messages, while public fountains and street shrines reminded citizens of both practical benefits and religious obligations of Roman rule. Even private homes of the wealthy displayed frescoes and mosaics that reflected imperial themes and values. Military monuments served as permanent reminders of Roman might. Triumphal arches, victory columns, and trophy monuments transformed military achievements into enduring stone narratives. These structures didn't simply commemorate past victories, they promised future triumphs and reminded both citizens and potential enemies of Rome's military supremacy. The Roman genius for architectural space created environments that physically embodied imperial authority. The vast interior of the Basilica of Maxentius, with its soaring vaults and massive scale, was designed to make visitors feel the overwhelming power of the empire. Similar principles guided the design of imperial palaces, where architecture choreographed the experience of approaching the emperor through increasingly grand spaces. Public spaces were carefully planned to reinforce social hierarchies and imperial order. Forums combined practical functions with symbolic layouts that reflected Roman ideas about power and authority. The placement of temples, government buildings, and monuments within these spaces created a physical manifestation of Roman social and political ideals. The Romans also understood the power of artistic contrast. When they wanted to emphasize victory over a conquered people, they would often juxtapose barbaric and Roman elements in their monuments. This visual strategy reinforced Roman cultural superiority while acknowledging and incorporating elements of conquered cultures into the imperial narrative. This sophisticated use of art as communication helped maintain imperial control over vast territories for centuries. By creating a unified visual language that could be understood from Britain to Egypt, Rome developed one of history's most effective systems of cultural propaganda, one whose influence continues to shape how governments and institutions use art and architecture to communicate power and authority. Roman art emerged as a remarkable synthesis of diverse cultural traditions, weaving together influences from across the ancient world into a uniquely powerful artistic language. This cultural fusion created an artistic tradition that would influence Western art for millennia to come. The Greek influence on Roman art was profound but transformative. While Romans deeply admired Greek artistic achievements, they did not simply copy them. Instead, they reinterpreted Greek ideals through a distinctly Roman lens. Greek gods and heroes were reimagined with a new sense of immediacy and drama. Zeus became Jupiter, not just as a name change, but with a more commanding, almost political presence that reflected Roman values of authority and power. The Laocoon group exemplifies this Roman approach to Greek themes. This magnificent sculpture depicts the Trojan priest Laocoon and his sons in their fatal struggle with sea serpents. The intense emotional drama, the physical agony, and the psychological depth of the piece demonstrate how Roman artists transformed Greek mythological subjects into profound explorations of human suffering. The writhing figures and tortured expressions create a visceral impact that goes beyond classical Greek restraint. Etruscan influences provided another crucial element in Roman artistic DNA. From the Etruscans, Roman artists inherited a taste for realistic portraiture and a deep connection to funerary art. The Etruscan tradition of creating highly individualized tomb sculptures influenced the Roman development of veristic portraiture, where every wrinkle and imperfection was captured with unflinching honesty. The Romans developed a unique approach to depicting their deities. Unlike the distant, idealized gods of Greek art, Roman divine figures often displayed distinctly human characteristics. Venus was portrayed not just as a goddess of love, but as the direct ancestress of the Roman people through Aeneas. Mars was depicted as the father of Romulus and Remus, making him not just a war god, but a founding father of Rome itself. Religious architecture reflected this intimate relationship between gods and mortals. Roman temples, while incorporating Greek elements, developed their own distinctive character. The podium-style temple with its prominent frontal steps created a theatrical approach to the divine, while the interior cella became more spacious, allowing for a different kind of worship experience than their Greek counterparts. The myth of Rome's founding by Romulus and Remus received countless artistic interpretations. This legend was depicted not just as historical folklore, but as a living symbol of Roman destiny. The famous Capitoline wolf, with its striking combination of naturalistic animal form and abstract human infants, embodies the fusion of myth and reality that characterized Roman cultural consciousness. Roman domestic art reveals how deeply mythology permeated daily life. Wall paintings in Pompeian villas show scenes from Greek mythology, alongside portraits of household gods, creating an environment where the divine and domestic coexisted naturally. These frescoes demonstrate how Romans integrated grand mythological themes into their personal spaces, making the supernatural part of everyday experience. The concept of imperial divinity introduced new elements to Roman religious art. As emperors began to be deified, artists had to develop new ways of depicting human beings transformed into gods. This led to innovative combinations of realistic portraiture and divine attributes, creating a new category of images that straddled the human and divine realms. Mystery cults from the East brought new iconographic elements into Roman art. The worship of Isis, Mithras, and other Eastern deities introduced new symbols and artistic conventions. These influences can be seen in the elaborate relief sculptures of Mithraic temples and the exotic elements that began appearing in traditional Roman religious art. The Roman genius for synthesis extended to provincial art as well. As the empire expanded, local artistic traditions were incorporated into the Roman visual vocabulary. Celtic deities appeared wearing Roman military dress, while Egyptian gods were reimagined with classical features. This cultural mixing created new hybrid forms that enriched the empire's artistic language. Funeral art provides some of our richest insights into Roman cultural beliefs. Sarcophagi were often decorated with complex mythological scenes that spoke to Roman ideas about death, heroization, and the afterlife. These carved narratives show how Romans used myth to understand and express their deepest concerns about mortality and memory. The Romans' treatment of historical events often blended seamlessly with mythological themes. On public monuments, real military victories were depicted alongside scenes of divine intervention, creating a narrative where history and myth reinforced each other. This integration of the real and the supernatural was a distinctive feature of Roman cultural expression. Through this rich synthesis of cultural and mythological elements, Roman art achieved something unprecedented. A visual language that could speak simultaneously of earthly power and divine authority, of historical truth and mythological meaning. This complex artistic heritage continues to influence how we think about the relationship between art, power, and belief in the modern world. The artistic and architectural legacy of Rome reverberates through the centuries with remarkable persistence and power. When we look at our modern world, we find Roman influence in everything from government buildings to sports arenas, from engineering principles to artistic techniques. Roman architectural innovations fundamentally transformed construction possibilities. Their perfection of the arch and vault system created new ways to span space and distribute weight, enabling the creation of larger, more complex interior spaces than ever before. These techniques, lost for centuries after Rome's fall, would be rediscovered during the Renaissance and become crucial elements of Western architecture. Modern architects continue to employ these principles, though now with steel and glass rather than stone and concrete. The Romans' revolutionary use of concrete particularly stands as one of their most enduring contributions. Their recipe for hydraulic cement, mixed with volcanic ash, produced structures of such durability that many still stand today, defying 2 millennia of weathering. Modern engineers study Roman concrete to understand how these ancient builders created a material that often proves more durable than its contemporary counterparts. The Pantheon's dome remains a masterpiece of concrete construction, its engineering sophistication still inspiring architects and engineers. In urban planning, Roman influence shapes our cities in countless ways. The grid system of street layout, the concept of public squares and gathering spaces, and the integration of practical infrastructure with monumental architecture all stem from Roman examples. Modern city planners continue to grapple with the same challenges of water distribution, traffic flow, and public amenity that Roman engineers so brilliantly addressed. The Colosseum stands as perhaps the most influential piece of sports architecture in history. Its efficient crowd management systems, carefully planned access routes, and tiered seating arrangements established principles that modern stadium designers still follow. Every major sports venue today, from football stadiums to baseball parks, owes a debt to this Roman prototype. Roman portraiture revolutionized the art of capturing human likeness. Their emphasis on realistic representation, including flaws and imperfections, created a new standard for portraiture that would influence artists for centuries. This tradition of realistic representation can be seen as a precursor not just to Renaissance portraiture, but to modern photography, where truth and character are valued over idealization. The Romans' sophisticated use of art for political communication established patterns that governments and institutions continue to follow. The careful use of imagery, symbolism, and monumental scale to convey power and authority remains a standard practice in government architecture and public art worldwide. From the US Capitol to the government buildings of modern capitals, Roman architectural language continues to speak of power and permanence. In the field of engineering, Roman innovations continue to impress and instruct. Their development of hydraulic systems, road networks, and building techniques demonstrated an understanding of materials and forces that would not be surpassed for over 1,000 years. Modern civil engineers still study Roman methods, particularly in areas like bridge construction and water management. The Romans' artistic influence extends into unexpected areas of modern life. Their development of mosaic techniques influences pixel-based digital art. Their understanding of perspective and spatial representation in wall paintings laid groundwork for Renaissance developments in painting that eventually led to modern cinematic techniques. Their skill in medal and coin design established principles still used in modern currency and commemorative medals. Perhaps most significantly, the Romans established the concept of art and architecture as a universal language of power and cultural achievement. Their ability to create works that communicated across cultural and linguistic boundaries established a model for global artistic communication that remains relevant in our modern, interconnected world. The durability of Roman influence speaks to the universal appeal of their artistic and architectural achievements. They created works that combined beauty with utility, grandeur with practicality, in ways that continue to resonate. As we face modern challenges in urban development, architectural design, and artistic expression, the Roman example remains not just relevant, but inspirational, showing how creativity and engineering can combine to create works of lasting significance and beauty. What did you think of the arts and Romanesque architecture? Have you seen any of it today? Which do you like most? Comment below, we want to hear from you. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the Legacy of Empires channel.